What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down, what's really moving it today, and what shorts are up to. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO did have a little bit more of a pullback first thing. Nothing really to do with NIO, just a lot of, once again, broader market fears that's kind of dragging down the broader market. But NIO is recovering. At the same time, to go over some of the data points, 124.7 million shares being traded, 78 is the average. So another very heavy volume day. And based on this, you see a little bit more institutions paying attention to it. Still not the same level of buying that I'm sure a lot of people would have ideally liked. And then I think at the same time, you did see some pre-market selling. So at like 3 a.m., 5 a.m., some of that was linked to some analyst comments last night where they did state that the whole EV momentum has diminished. But I kind of saw that first thing. I think that they kind of took the article down because for this video, I was unable to find it. So maybe that's short-lived. We'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, nothing actually from NIO itself, no SEC filings, nothing along those lines. So it's kind of just stuck in limbo. As far as this, I'll quickly pop over to IBKR. You did have a couple new analyst ratings that came out yesterday. So $8.90. That was done by Citi. Jeff, who has a 44% success rating. You did have a buy rating by 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗛. I've never heard of that firm before. But aside from that, Morgan Stanley jumped on board 3 days ago, $6.10. 8 days ago, $8 price target. JP Morgan, Nick, who has a 41% success rating, and Tim has a 38. So not the best ratings whatsoever. So we'll just have to kind of stay tuned to what does come. But based on the Elliott Wave technicals, while I'm actually on IBKR, it does still signal for NIO to get between that 728 and 776 range based on at least in the short term. And the latest Morningstar report does show the fair market value for NIO being $7.60, as I've brought up in the past. But realistically, pretty sure a lot of people kind of anticipate more from that. Like based on everything that they've come out with for record number of deliveries and everything, and the momentum behind the scenes, like the whole stimulus from China hasn't actually even commenced yet. So I think NIO can easily break above 8 or possibly higher once that does really kick off. You also have shorts returning some shares today. So generally good stuff. 932,000 shares are being returned. 12.5% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 166.92 million shares. So I feel like shorts over the last 2 days have actually increased. So maybe they were anticipating the momentum coming from China and everything else to have just quashed straight away. But that wasn't the case. So NIO is, I don't know if I'm not here to say that NIO is going to have a mother of all short squeeze plays. So don't get me wrong. In order for a squeeze to happen, you need all the dominoes to line up. But there's a lot of fear in the market. So if that does turn very positive, then you could see shorts really overextended and kind of screwed with NIO, but we'll just have to wait and see. As far as options though, I'll give you guys a quick overview of that. A lot of money is getting into NIO through options, both common stock and through options, but 21 million in calls, 3.96 million in puts. 47% of the options being done today are bearish, but I feel like that's not really accurately represented based on what I've been kind of showing you, because if you look at what is being done, so these are all the call options so far today, roughly between that $8, you have some optimism once again around that $10 range being purchased, but for the most part, $8 plus or even $8.50 is anticipated. If we move over to the bears, they're kind of anticipating between that 7 and 650. So in my opinion, there still is more upside anticipated. So this 47% isn't all that accurate. But no matter what though, options is just merely a sentiment. It does not move the stock price whatsoever. So again, kind of just be aware that tomorrow you have, with it being Thursday, initial jobless claims coming out from the States. So that could really reinvigorate some momentum coming from them. And then as a byproduct, maybe this might come back on the table, the likelihood of a 50 basis point cut, because I feel like that's getting priced out of the market right now. So that is kind of one thing that caused a lot of volatility first thing. And a lot of that does kind of stem to NIO as well. Even though interest rates in the States don't directly kind of affect NIO, like indirectly it does through the algorithms. And majority of the volume that's been happening with NIO is linked to algorithmic trading, because entities and big institutions, hedge funds, they're not making up this 125 mil today and over the last several trading days. That is coming from the algos. So I've kind of brought that up in the past, so just do you guys' own due diligence at the end of the day. Right now with it at $7.16, it is trading between this pivot and this R1. So 755 is going to be that next strong resistance / target that you want to watch for NIO to get above in the next couple trading days. And the fact that NIO did have 2 sell-offs, one of which was yesterday and other one today, and it's not making lower lows, I see that as optimistic and might be bold to say that the bottom might be temporarily in. So again, something to keep in mind, bigger picture, but no matter what, sometimes my crystal ball is wrong, so do you guys' own due diligence. On the actual chart itself, so it did have some consolidation, but instantly it looks like the market wants to propel NIO higher. Looking at stochastic, it's roughly around 73, so still arguably overbought. But as stocks do correct, that's kind of normal, so I brought that up. But the first sign of weakness, you could see some consolidation, but as long as it is still continuously making higher highs and higher lows, then obviously the trend is set for the most part. A number of retail investors cannot get enough of NIO. They are buying the hell out of it. You can see that based on the momentum indicator. So even though entities and institutions aren't really kind of supporting and buying NIO, algos are really propelling it, and retail is buying the hell out of NIO. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Did you guys take profits? Or have you guys been dabbling with options? And for those of you that have been doing options, what is your kind of thoughts? Like, what strike price, what expiry date have you been picking? On a side note, this is the current open interest for NIO. So for this October 4th expiry date, you have 16,000 at that 6, 17,000 at that 650, 26,000 at the 7, 20 at the 750, and 26,000 at the 8. Then you guys can kind of see the rest. So for instance, this upcoming Friday, so in basically 2 days, if NIO is able to close above that $8 strike price, then once again, you could have a nice gamma squeeze that really kickstarted the buying this week, because similar kind of scenario played out last week as well. So yeah, this is a good around 10 million shares that market makers would have to cover because they don't have open inventory of a lot of volatile stocks such as NIO. So yeah, honestly, a lot of the data points are looking very, very good. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And on a side note, if you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as everything listed here through IBKR, I have a link in the description below for it to be all completely free. So make sure you guys definitely take advantage of that. With all that said, appreciate all of you guys watching.